Hey, everybody. It's your boy, Sean McLaughlin at Option Sean on Twitter X. I hope you're doing well. Today is Thursday, March 27, 2025. Right before we went live to air, I was just finishing some cereal. So if I had some stuff in my teeth, I apologize. Not very professional of me. Um, hey, hope everybody's doing well. Man, it's a different market, right? It's a different market these days. And it's reflected in the new trades I've put on since we last spoke. Um, and we'll get into that. But before we start the show here, let's just drop the old disclaimer that everything we discuss here is for educational purposes only. I'm showing you what I'm doing with my money. I hope that you are learning something along the way. So, guys, I was traveling a bit since Friday. Just got back last night. Still checking in on the market every morning, doing the things I needed to do. Um, and I gotta say, I sound like a broken record probably, but for me, my not much of my feeling about the market has changed since last week. I know we've rallied a little bit. I got the S&P chart up on my screen right now. I mean, we're 2 weeks off of the low print back on March 13th, right? But none of this bounce to me has been very convincing. I mean, you could see where this black line here is the 200 period moving average. We've kind of rode up to it, and once we got there, approximately, we met some resistance and we rolled over yesterday. And the other thing too is let me bring the volume into the chart here. Um, I'm still not seeing the type of volume that's going to convince me that much has changed. Like, see, I just put the volume here on my chart. We never really had a big washout down day. I mean, maybe you could say March 4th, um, but that was a high volume day on March 4th, but that wasn't even yet the low, right? If you look up here on the chart, it was right in here. Let's zoom in a little. That high volume day was right here, March 4th, and we still had lower to go from there. So we haven't had like that capitulation washout day. And I was talking last week about how every green day that we had, the volume was on lower, was every green day was on lower volume. Now, finally, on I believe this was Friday, we had an uptick in volume on a green day, and that was a very strong day. The S&P was up, I think, 2% that day. Volume did rise, but as you can see in that chart, it didn't rise a whole lot. This kind of rise does not inspire confidence to me. So I don't know. I have this feeling that the low is not in yet. I'm not saying that we're going to crash by any means. I'm not saying, we have another 20% down from here. I'm not saying that, but I'm not convinced that this is the low and we're going to rally back to new all-time highs from here. I think we need lower prices. That's what it feels like to me. If nothing else, I think it's going to be a little sloppy until we get that real strong follow through up day where we see heavy volume come into the indexes on a green day, on a day where the indexes are up, at least 1%. Um, Till we see that, I'm just not convinced that we could do this. Hey Kevin, I see you coming in from Lakeland, Florida. How you doing, man? I saw a spring training game in Lakeland, Florida, many years ago. Detroit Tigers. I think they still play there. I see you, Rob, called me the Bob Ross of options. I'll take it. I'll take it. I'll take it, man. Having spent 5 days in the wilderness, that feels kind of right. All right. So what's interesting, guys, is from the portfolio perspective, at least amongst the active trades I've got going on All Star Options, we didn't have a whole lot going on this week. In fact, we had no exits. We didn't exit anything for a profit. We didn't exit anything for a loss. We didn't even have to make any adjustments to any of our trades. Kind of nice considering I was traveling this week. So glad that I didn't have to do anything. That's real nice. But one stock I will bring to our attention, this is AEM. This has been flirting with our next adjustment. We have a call diagonal spread here. You see, we started out short the March 95 calls and long the January 120 calls. This is the day we got in here on the 22nd. And we've made two adjustments since then, rolling the calls up a strike and out a month. The short calls are now at the August 105 strike. Um, and so if this position were to die right here, if this trend were to completely reverse on us, well, the worst case scenario is I'm out 45 cents. That's my debit in this campaign. It started out costing $1.40. That was my original investment, $1.40. Thanks to two rolls of the short calls, I've brought in 95 cents of additional credit. So my net right now, my net outlay is 45 cents. So if AEM dies here, that's the worst case scenario. I might even still be able to scratch out a win, kind of depending on how and when it happens. I got a trailing stop here at 91. I don't want to see AEM get below 91. But more importantly, we are flirting with this 107.50 area. This is the area where I will make my next roll. We briefly traded above it on March 18th, but then couldn't hold on. Similar thing happening today. We were above 107.50 briefly intraday today. We've given it back a little bit, but we're still kicking around that area. So if at any point later on today, if AEM gets back to highs on the day above 107.50, then I will do my next roll. I'm going to roll those short 105 calls up to the 110 strike. Not sure if I'll be able to do it in September or October, but I want to do it for a credit. Okay, that's the key thing. Whatever roll I do, I want it to be for a credit. Um, and maybe that roll will put the whole trade into the whole campaign into a net credit at that point. Like for example, if we get another 90-cent credit for the roll, then that puts us to the positive 45 cents. And then if AEM dies from there, worst case scenario is they're walking away with a small profit. Um, so we're hanging in here. This trade, ideally in hindsight, maybe we should have just bought the calls and gone away, but we're not out of this one yet, and it's still working. We still have profit potential here, so I'm going to keep working it. I'm going to keep working it. Colin, I see your question. How far are you willing to roll? I don't have I can't pull it up on my screen here, but as I mentioned, I will roll to the next month that I can, where the 110 strike will give me a net credit, even if it's just a 5-cent credit or a 10-cent credit. I like it to be a credit. That's just me. I mean, you could roll to September 110 and pay a debit for it if you want. That just adds to your risk in the trade. I like to roll these things for credit, so that's what I'll do, Colin. Good question, though. Okay, so that's it. I mean, there's no, like I said, there were no exits this week. There's been no adjustments. We may adjust AEM today or soon. If we don't do it today, maybe we do it tomorrow. But once we get back above 107.50, that's when it's time to roll. Okay, so now let's update some stocks. I only have one stop to update. And that's our bearish trade in ITB. That's the U.S. Home Construction ETF. We're long a bear put spread where we're long the April 95 puts and short the 90 puts. We paid $1.70 for it. We were in some profits for a little while. Now we're just kind of languishing here. Trade still looks good, but pretty soon we're going to start running out of time, guys. April 1st is right around the corner. What's today? Today's the 27th, so we got about 4 or 5 more days. Once we get to April 1st, in fact, when we talk next week, we will now be an expiration month. And at that point, if this trade this stock is not below 95, putting my long puts in the money, then it's going to be time to go because theta decay will become our enemy. The value of the premium in this spread will begin to rapidly erode if we're not below 95. If we are below 95, at that point, I'll continue holding the spread, and I have a profit target, right? It's all in the details in the blog post. I'll keep holding out for that profit target, but I will begin trailing a tight stop on the trade. I'll trail a 3 to 5 day high on this position because again, we're approaching expiration. Time is our enemy, so it's either got to be going my way or it's got to go. Right? So. That's what's it. That's the only stop we're updating right now. 102, we don't want to see ITB get above 102, but I mean, at this point, if it gets above 102, it's probably happening by the time we get to April 1st. So we're out anyway. But 102 for now. I still feel good about this trade though. It's doing what I want it to do. Next up, we'll talk about the new trades we've put on since we last spoke. And these new trades are emblematic of the market environment that we're in. It's a little bit of everything. We got a bullish trade, we got a bearish trade, and we got a neutral trade, right? Perfect. That's the kind that's the kind of setup we need in this market. Now, if you want to find the details for every one of these trades, go to allstarcharts.com, head to the members section, head to the options section. You'll find all the detailed trade plans for every trade that we put on. If you're not a member of All Star Options, get involved. You get all the detailed trade plans, everything you need to know before you get into the trade. We have a online chat community where people like you chatting with me and with others. It's a great community where we all share ideas and encouragement, and we commiserate when we're losing, we celebrate when we're winning. It's a great place to be. So please, if you're not involved in All Star Options, get involved. I'll throw the links in the chat. Well, I'm not gonna have the links this time, but I'll have it at the end. Okay, so anyway, MWA, we put a bullish trade on in MWA. So far, it's not working, but it flirted with our stop loss level today, but it bounced impressively off it, as you could see. So I'm feeling better about it. Survived this strong red candle day with very high volume there. We survived that, and we're sticking in where we needed to stick in. This trade, we may get stopped out of this next week. We'll see. But right now, it's holding. So I'm optimistic. But we're long MWA. Again, all the details can be found on the blog. Next up, QQQ. Here is a delta neutral trade we put on. Look, if the market's going to be sloppy, then the Qs are going to be sloppy, right? This is the NASDAQ 100. This is the tech heavy sector index. We were able to put a very wide spread on here. So we have a very wide profit range for this trade. This is not the type of trade that we're going for a home run, but it's the type of trade that has high probability of success, which is the types of trades I like in dicey markets like right now. But yeah, we have a delta neutral trade on in the Qs. Find the details on the blog. And last up, Sealed Air Corp. This is a bearish position. This trade, this stock, this company has had every opportunity to bounce in the last couple of weeks as the S&P, stopped going lower. It hasn't really bounced, but it has stopped going lower. And C had every opportunity to kind of dig in, but as you can see, it is not. And this is just a 1-year chart, but if we scroll, let's go out to like a weekly chart here and do a little bit more longer term. You could see here that this is a big topping pattern right here, and we're starting to lose a key level. If this gets below 28, it could be lights out all the way down into the teens, and that's what we're playing for. All right, we feel like this stock, me and my analysts feel like this stock it's not doing well, and it's going to continue doing worse. So we have a bearish position on in C. Again, all the details can be found on the blog. All right, so let's go back here. Oh, there it goes. Just the updated stops, just one today. No big deal. The ITB to 102. And guys, if you have any questions at all about what we discussed here, shoot me an email at info@allstarcharts.com. It'll get routed to me, and I'll be happy to engage with you there. I mentioned before, if you want to get involved in All Star Options, you can head to stockmarkettv.com/get All Star Options with a few dashes in there. So please check that out. And if you like the charts that I share, I use trendspider.com, and they've been gracious enough to offer you viewers, friends of mine, a discount to 50% off subscription plans using promo code Sean50. So check them out. All right, guys, that's all I have for you this week. It's been a wonderful week for me personally. I had a much needed little retreat that I went on. Just feeling recharged and refreshed and feeling great. I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. I hope spring is arriving where you are. It certainly is where I am. It's 75 degrees today. It's beautiful. Baseball starting today. Spring is here, baby. So, hey, have a great weekend, the rest of your week, and a great weekend. You can always catch me in the chat. You find me on Twitter. Options Sean is my Twitter handle. Reach out anytime. All right, folks, be well. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.